Have you ever experienced a moment when everything around you seems calm, yet inside there's an unmistakable restlessness? A feeling that gnaws quietly at your soul in the stillness of the night, when distractions fade away and you're left alone with your thoughts. You might be scrolling through your phone, searching for something, anything, that might fill that silent void, but the emptiness persists. It's that late-night whisper, the subtle yearning beneath fleeting pleasures and surface-level desires. It's not just physical want or simple craving. It's a profound, unspoken call from within. This call is often confused with lust or mere desire, but it runs far deeper than skin and sensation. This invisible call is what we will explore today. It is the soul's voice beckoning us to awaken, to connect with parts of ourselves we have long neglected or forgotten. Many of us live chasing shadows of fulfillment, mistaking temporary highs for lasting happiness. But the soul's call is persistent. It demands our attention, not to punish or shame, but to invite us into wholeness. In the next 25 minutes, we will embark on a journey beyond desire's surface, exploring psychological insights, spiritual truths, and heartfelt reflections that can illuminate this often misunderstood longing inside us. We'll learn how to listen to the soul's subtle language, how to break free from destructive cycles, and how to embrace a life rich with presence, meaning, and integration. So if you're ready to delve into the depths of your own inner landscape, to meet the parts of yourself that have been calling for recognition, then stay with me. This is more than a story about desire. It's a story about the human condition and the timeless quest to feel truly alive. When we think about desire, what usually comes to mind? Passion, attraction, craving, often tied to someone or something outside ourselves. Society teaches us to seek fulfillment in external achievements, relationships, pleasures. The next promotion, the next relationship, the next distraction promises relief from the nagging feeling inside that something is missing. But what if this longing we chase isn't truly desire at all? What if it is something else, something less obvious, but far more urgent? A kind of emptiness wearing the mask of desire. This emptiness is subtle but pervasive. It surfaces quietly, in moments when the noise around us fades and we find ourselves alone with our thoughts and feelings. It's that hollow sensation we try desperately to ignore or fill with anything we can find. The problem is, no matter how many things we acquire, no matter how many people we pursue, this emptiness remains untouched. Carl Jung, the pioneer of analytical psychology, offered profound insights into this mystery. He observed that people will go to great lengths, sometimes absurd lengths, to avoid confronting their own inner world, their soul, as he called it. He said people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. This avoidance takes many forms: compulsive behaviors, addictions, endless distractions, superficial relationships. All are attempts to escape the uncomfortable silence of our inner emptiness. We might believe we want pleasure or connection, but what we're truly craving is presence. The feeling of being alive and seen beneath the surface of our everyday masks. It is the desire to be held, understood, and recognized, not just for what we do or what we have, but for who we really are at the core. Yet instead of turning inward to meet this need, we often run outward, chasing images, dopamine hits, and fleeting moments of gratification. These pursuits can momentarily distract us, but ultimately deepen the void because they are built on illusions. The surge of pleasure or excitement fades quickly, leaving us back where we started, sometimes more hollow than before. This cycle of chasing and emptiness can become exhausting, leading to feelings of isolation, numbness, and disconnection. We start to feel that something is wrong with us. Why can't we be satisfied? Why do these desires never seem to fulfill us? The truth is, the emptiness masquerading as desire is not a flaw or a weakness. It is a signal. It's your soul's way of telling you that you are disconnected from something vital within yourself. It's a call to awaken, to listen deeply, and to begin the work of healing and integration. Understanding this is the first step toward transformation. Instead of blaming ourselves or our circumstances, we can begin to recognize desire's deeper meaning. Desire is not the enemy, it is the messenger. Beneath the craving lies a yearning for wholeness, connection, and authenticity. So, as you reflect on your own experience, ask yourself, when you feel desire rising, what is it really trying to tell you? Is it hunger for connection, for presence, for understanding? Or is it simply the mind's way of avoiding a silence that feels too painful to face? This question invites us to pause and observe rather than react. It opens space for self-compassion and curiosity, which are essential for breaking free from compulsive patterns and discovering a more fulfilling way to live. In the depths of human psychology lies a concept, both mysterious and essential, the shadow. Coined and explored in depth by Carl Jung, the shadow represents those parts of ourselves we hide, deny, or reject. It is the collection of traits, feelings, and desires we deem unacceptable or uncomfortable. The shadow is not evil or bad, it's simply the aspects of our being we have not yet embraced. Why do we reject these parts? Often because they challenge the image we want to project to the world or even the identity we hold of ourselves. To maintain comfort and social acceptance, we push these elements into darkness, unaware that denying them only fragments our wholeness. When the shadow remains unconscious, it quietly shapes our lives from behind the scenes. It fuels our compulsions, anxieties, and destructive patterns. We might find ourselves endlessly chasing pleasure, validation, or distractions, trying to fill the void left by the parts of ourselves we refuse to face. Imagine carrying a suitcase filled with forgotten memories, emotions, and potentials, but locking it away instead of unpacking and integrating its contents. This suitcase becomes heavier with time, weighing down our spirit and clouding our clarity. Jung suggested that the shadow is not to be feared, but acknowledged. When ignored, it governs us unconsciously, often sabotaging our efforts at happiness. But when consciously embraced, it becomes a source of profound healing and growth. This unconscious shadow often drives us to seek something outside, be it people, substances, or experiences, to compensate for the disconnect within. We might pursue endless relationships that lack true intimacy, indulge in addictions that numb pain, or bury ourselves in busyness to avoid facing ourselves. This external searching creates an illusion of closeness and control, but it is just that, an illusion. The closeness we feel through external things is fleeting and hollow if we are not connected to ourselves. Carl Jung explained this as the shadow in action. This is the shadow in action. The part of you that was never loved in the right way now searches for love in the wrong ways. This searching is not limited to sexual desire or romantic longing. It encompasses any compulsive behavior that arises from unmet emotional needs and unresolved inner conflicts. Understanding the shadow's role invites us to look beyond surface behaviors and desires. It asks us to recognize that the discomfort, the restlessness, and the yearning come from a deeper place, a part of us waiting to be seen, accepted, and healed. Embracing the shadow requires courage. It means sitting with uncomfortable truths, acknowledging our imperfections, and allowing ourselves to feel vulnerable. But this vulnerability is the gateway to true connection, both with ourselves and others. When we begin to integrate the shadow, we reclaim the parts of ourselves that were lost or hidden. We begin to live authentically, free from the constant pull of unconscious patterns. We learn to stop running from our inner darkness and start embracing the light it reveals. In this process, desire transforms. It shifts from frantic searching to a conscious invitation, a sacred energy that can guide us toward healing, creativity, and genuine intimacy. When desire arises within us, it often feels like a simple, straightforward craving for a person, an experience, a sensation. We reduce it to physical terms or fleeting emotions. Yet, beneath that surface lies a far deeper reality. Desire is not merely a call for pleasure or satisfaction, it is a profound hunger of the soul. Think about hunger. It is the body's signal for nourishment, a way it communicates a vital need. Similarly, desire is the soul's language, signaling that something essential is missing, that it yearns for connection, meaning, and wholeness. Carl Jung insightfully stated, "I must learn that the dregs of my thoughts, my dreams, are the speech of my soul." Our dreams, our unconscious impulses, and yes, even our desires, are the soul's way of expressing what words can't fully capture. Many of us mistake this spiritual hunger for simple lust or surface-level longing. We try to satisfy it with temporary fixes, distractions, relationships, pleasures that come and go. But the hunger remains. This misinterpretation often leads to cycles of frustration and emptiness. But what if we listen to desire as a messenger? What if we approached our cravings not as enemies or weaknesses, but as signposts pointing toward deeper healing? When we see desire as a call from the soul, it invites us to explore our inner landscapes with compassion and curiosity. It encourages us to ask, what is this longing trying to reveal? What part of me is crying out to be seen and embraced? This perspective transforms desire from a trap into an opportunity. Instead of fueling compulsions or avoidance, desire can become a bridge, connecting us to our authentic selves and to others in more meaningful ways. It is important to recognize that this hunger is not simply about external fulfillment. It is about integration, bringing together fragmented parts of ourselves that have been pushed aside or denied. In many ways, desire is the soul's way of asking us to come home to ourselves. It challenges us to step out of the distractions and illusions to face our deeper needs and vulnerabilities with honesty. By honoring desire as a spiritual hunger, we create space for transformation. We begin to nourish ourselves in ways that go beyond the physical, through presence, self-acceptance, and connection. This process requires patience and courage. It may mean confronting uncomfortable truths or sitting with feelings we have long avoided. But through this willingness to listen, desire reveals itself as a powerful catalyst for growth and healing. As you reflect on your own experiences, consider what your desires have been telling you beneath the surface. What hunger of your soul has been waiting for your attention? By embracing this question, you open the door to a deeper understanding of yourself and a more fulfilling relationship with the world around you. Throughout our lives, many of us find ourselves trapped in a repetitive pattern, the cycle of escape. It begins with a feeling of discomfort, restlessness, or emptiness within. We seek relief, a way to quiet the unsettling silence inside. In our search, we reach outward, chasing experiences, sensations, or connections that promise to fill the void. These might be fleeting moments of pleasure, distractions, or compulsions that momentarily soothe us. But here lies the paradox. The relief is temporary. Like a mirage, the pleasure appears bright and promising from a distance, only to vanish the moment we draw near. Once the sensation fades, the emptiness returns, often with greater intensity than before. This leads us back to the beginning of the cycle, restlessness, seeking, fleeting pleasure, and emptiness. Carl Jung spoke of this human tendency with profound insight. He recognized that many people engage in behaviors, no matter how seemingly irrational or self-destructive, to avoid confronting their deeper selves. This cycle is a form of psychic avoidance, a way to sidestep the inner work required for true healing. What fuels this cycle is an illusion, the belief that external pleasures or distractions can provide lasting fulfillment. We convince ourselves that the next experience, person, or thrill will be different, that it will finally satisfy us. Yet because these pursuits are disconnected from our inner reality, they can never truly fill the gap. This endless chase can become exhausting. We might experience feelings of guilt, shame, or confusion about why we can't just be satisfied. We lose touch with our deeper needs and instead become enslaved to surface-level impulses. The result is often numbness, an emotional shutdown that protects us from pain but also cuts us off from joy and authentic connection. The escape cycle can take many forms: compulsive texting, binge-watching, substance use, or any behavior that distracts us from sitting with ourselves. Each act promises relief but perpetuates the cycle by keeping us disconnected from our core. Recognizing this cycle is crucial. Awareness is the first step toward liberation. When we become conscious of our patterns, we can choose to respond differently. Instead of reacting impulsively, we can pause, breathe, and inquire into what our inner selves truly need. Breaking free from the escape cycle requires embracing discomfort. It means sitting with the silence and the ache without immediately seeking distraction. This is no easy task. It demands courage and patience. But in this space of presence, healing begins. The illusion of pleasure loses its power when we no longer rely on it to avoid ourselves. Desire transforms from an unconscious craving into a conscious invitation, one that guides us toward integration and wholeness. As you reflect on your own experiences, consider where you might be caught in this cycle. What distractions or compulsions keep you from facing your inner truth? What would it feel like to stay present with your feelings even when they are uncomfortable? These questions invite us to step off the treadmill of escape and into a life of conscious living, a life where desire becomes a teacher rather than a tyrant. The moment of awakening is often subtle, sometimes almost imperceptible. It begins when we choose to stop running, to pause in the midst of our restless pursuits and look inward with honest attention. This awakening is the opening of consciousness, a shift from unconscious reaction to mindful presence. For many, this awakening feels like stepping into unfamiliar territory. Instead of the habitual distractions or compulsive behaviors, there is silence. There is space. There may be discomfort, but also possibility. Consciousness is the key that unlocks the cycle of desire and emptiness. When we become aware of our cravings, not judging or suppressing them, but simply observing, we transform their energy. Desire ceases to be a force that controls us and instead becomes a signal that guides us. Carl Jung understood consciousness as the bridge between the known and the unknown within us. He said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This insight reminds us that so much of our behavior, especially those driven by desire and avoidance, happens outside our awareness. Awakening to consciousness means reclaiming the power to choose. It means realizing that our impulses do not have to dictate our actions. Instead, we can respond with intention, compassion, and insight. This process is not instantaneous or easy. It requires patience, courage, and practice. We must learn to tolerate discomfort, the tension of feeling vulnerable emotions without rushing to escape them. It means meeting our shadows with kindness and curiosity rather than fear. One practical way to cultivate this awakening is through mindfulness, the practice of paying attention to the present moment with openness. When we practice mindfulness, we create a space between stimulus and response, allowing consciousness to arise. In this space, we can ask ourselves meaningful questions. What am I feeling right now? What is this desire trying to tell me? Am I acting out of fear, loneliness, or genuine longing? By bringing these questions to the surface, we begin to dissolve old patterns. We invite integration, healing, and a deeper connection with ourselves. Awakening also opens us to the richness of life that was previously obscured by distraction and avoidance. We start to notice beauty in small moments, to appreciate genuine connection, and to feel a sense of aliveness beyond temporary thrills. This awakening is a journey toward wholeness, a journey that requires us to embrace all parts of ourselves, even those we once rejected. So, as you continue on this path, remember, consciousness is your ally. It illuminates the shadows, dissolves illusions, and leads you home. The journey toward healing and wholeness invites us to embrace a profound and sometimes challenging process: integration. Integration means bringing together all the fragmented parts of ourselves, the light and the shadow, the known and the hidden, the embraced and the rejected. It means reconnecting with our true self beneath layers of defense and distraction. For many, life has been a long exercise in disconnection. We've learned to separate from feelings that seem too painful or confusing. We push away memories, desires, or traits that we've judged unworthy or unacceptable. Over time, this fragmentation creates a sense of alienation, not only from others, but from our own essence. Carl Jung emphasized the importance of this integration. It is the path to individuation, the process of becoming whole and authentic. To integrate is to accept ourselves fully, including our imperfections and vulnerabilities. It's not a destination, but a continuous dance of awareness and acceptance. Integration requires courage. It means turning toward the parts of ourselves that we might fear or dislike. It means listening to the whispers of our shadow without judgment. This can be uncomfortable and even painful, but it is also deeply liberating. As we begin to welcome these disowned parts, we discover a rich inner landscape, a reservoir of strength, wisdom, and creativity. The very aspects we feared become sources of growth. Our emotions become more fluid, our relationships more authentic, and our sense of purpose clearer. Reconnection with self is the heart of this process. It is learning to be present with ourselves in ways we may never have known possible. It's about feeling our emotions deeply, understanding our needs, and honoring our truth. This reconnection also changes how we relate to others. When we are whole within, we no longer seek completion or validation outside ourselves. We approach relationships from a place of generosity and authenticity, rather than need or fear. Integration is a lifelong practice, not a quick fix. It requires patience and self-compassion. There will be moments of progress and moments of struggle, but with each step, we grow closer to the essence of who we are meant to be. In embracing integration, desire itself transforms. No longer a restless craving, it becomes a sacred energy, a source of connection, creativity, and vitality. As you reflect on your own journey, consider which parts of yourself you have resisted or ignored. What would it feel like to welcome those parts home? How might your life change if you allowed yourself to be fully seen and accepted, first by you? The path to integration is not easy, but it is profoundly rewarding. It invites us to live with greater freedom, authenticity, and love for ourselves and for the world around us. Love is often spoken of as the ultimate answer, the force that heals, connects, and transforms. But to truly understand love, we must look beyond the romantic ideals and superficial expressions. At its deepest level, love is presence, the art of being fully here, fully available, and fully open. Presence means more than just physical proximity. It means attentiveness, empathy, and genuine connection. It means listening without judgment, seeing without expectation, and holding space without trying to fix or change. When we cultivate presence, we create fertile ground for love to grow, both toward ourselves and toward others. This is a radical shift from seeking love as possession or validation to experiencing love as shared being. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that love is about control, performance, or meeting conditions. We think we must earn love or prove our worthiness. This belief creates barriers and fear, separating us from authentic connection. Carl Jung's work reminds us that love arises when we integrate our inner selves and come into alignment with our wholeness. It is through this integration that we develop the capacity for true presence. Presence also transforms desire. When desire is rooted in presence, it becomes a sacred dialogue between souls, an exchange of vulnerability, trust, and respect. It moves from frantic chasing to intentional embracing. This kind of love and desire supports growth, healing, and transformation. It invites us to be seen as we truly are and to see others with compassion and understanding. But cultivating presence requires practice. It challenges our habitual tendencies to distract, avoid, or control. It asks us to slow down, breathe, and be with what is, even when it is uncomfortable. In our modern world filled with noise and constant stimulation, presence is a rare gift. Yet it is the foundation upon which all meaningful relationships are built. As you continue your journey, consider how presence shows up in your life. How often do you truly listen to yourself and others? What fears or habits keep you from being fully present? Remember, love is not a destination but a way of being. It begins with presence, with the courageous act of showing up for yourself and those you care about. When presence guides desire and connection, it opens the door to intimacy that nourishes the soul, heals wounds, and fosters authentic joy. As we journey deeper into understanding desire, emptiness, and the call of the soul, it is essential to pause and reflect. Reflection is not just a mental exercise, it is a way to connect with your inner world and uncover truths that may have been buried beneath layers of distraction and avoidance. Let me ask you, have you ever noticed moments when your desires felt more like a mask than a true longing? Times when you reached for something outside of yourself but sensed a deeper need beneath, perhaps a hunger for connection, meaning, or acceptance that went unspoken. These questions are not meant to challenge you, but to invite you into curiosity, a gentle exploration of your experience. What part of you is calling for attention right now? Is it a wounded part craving love and understanding? Is it a lonely part searching for presence? By turning inward with openness, you create a space where healing begins. Writing, meditation, or simply sitting with these questions can unlock insights that guide your path. And I invite you to share your reflections in the comments below. Your story, your struggle, and your insights may light the way for someone else walking a similar journey. Community and connection are powerful healers. As Carl Jung said, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. In sharing and understanding our shadows, we foster empathy and collective growth. So here are 2 questions for you to ponder and respond to. 1. When you feel desire arise within you, what deeper need do you sense beneath it? 2. What steps can you take today to meet that need with compassion rather than avoidance? Your answers matter. They are part of your soul's language, and by voicing them, you honor your journey toward wholeness. Remember, this space is safe and supportive. There is no judgment here, only encouragement to be authentic and courageous. Take a moment, breathe deeply, and connect with yourself. What do you hear? What do you feel? As we come to the close of this journey beyond desire, it is important to remember what we have uncovered together. Desire is rarely just a surface-level craving. Beneath it lies the soulful call for presence, integration, and healing. The restlessness, the endless chasing, the momentary thrills, they all point to a deeper truth. Our soul is asking us to pause, to turn inward, and to meet ourselves with compassion and courage. This awakening invites us to transform desire from a force that controls and distracts into a guiding energy that leads us to wholeness. It calls us to embrace our shadows, reclaim our authentic selves, and cultivate presence in every moment. If this video has resonated with you, if it has sparked something within, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue creating content that nurtures growth, healing, and connection. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. Many of us walk this path of self-discovery and transformation. Together, we can build a community rooted in authenticity and love. Before we part, I invite you to reflect once more. What will you do today to answer the call of your soul? How will you choose presence over escape, integration over fragmentation, love over illusion? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story matters and could inspire someone else to begin their own journey home. Thank you for joining me in this exploration. May you find the courage to face your shadows, the grace to embrace your true self, and the joy of living fully present. Until next time, be gentle with yourself, and remember, beyond desire, there is the soul's call, waiting patiently for you to listen.